Everyone thinks Napoleon lost his empire because of the brutal Russian winter. The real force that brought down Napoleon wasn't snow, or starvation, or even war. It was something hidden, and far more surprising. Napoleon Bonaparte, the military genius who once ruled most of Europe, was undefeated for over a decade. But then came the disastrous invasion of Russia. Over 600,000 men marched east, only around 100,000 returned. The common explanation? The Russian winter. Snow, cold, and hunger wiped out the grand but. Historians now know there's more to the story, because Napoleon's deadliest enemy wasn't Russia. It was something microscopic. Typhus, a bacterial infection spread by lice. Typhus causes fever, delirium, and death. And during the Napoleonic Wars, it was rampant. As Napoleon's army crossed into Russia, the soldiers began dying, not just from battle, but from disease. Crowded camps, poor sanitation, and the long supply lines made conditions perfect for a typhus outbreak. By the time Napoleon reached Moscow, his army was already crippled. Russian forces didn't need to fight head-on. Disease did the job for them. Survivors wrote of men hallucinating, collapsing, and dying by the thousands. Entire regiments vanished, not from bullets, but from infection. And it wasn't just typhus. Dysentery, scurvy, and trench foot ravaged the ranks. Napoleon may have been a military genius, but he couldn't outthink bacteria. When Napoleon began the retreat from Moscow, the situation was apocalyptic. Horses died en masse, cannons were abandoned. Starving soldiers stripped bark from trees to survive. The roads were littered with frozen corpses, but again, many of those deaths weren't due to Russian attacks or frostbite. They were due to infection. Disease doesn't discriminate. It killed generals and foot soldiers alike. By the time Napoleon crossed back into Poland, his once unstoppable force was shattered. The loss in Russia marked the beginning of the end. Revolts broke out across Europe. Former allies turned on him, and just 2 years later, Napoleon was defeated and exiled. Here's the deeper truth. Throughout history, more armies have died from disease than combat. In his earlier campaigns in Egypt, plague and dysentery killed thousands. But in 1812, he underestimated the scale and the vulnerability of his men. His logistical planning was focused on food and ammunition, not hygiene. Medicine was rudimentary. Modern science has since confirmed this. The story we retold that Napoleon was simply defeated by Russia's harsh winter is too simple. It's dramatic, yes, but it misses the hidden killer. Napoleon's downfall was a perfect storm. Overreach, political rebellion, tactical missteps, and a microbial enemy he never saw coming. The myth of the Russian winter endures because it's clean, cinematic, and easy to remember. It's a reminder that history is shaped not just by generals and battles, but by the invisible, and that sometimes the smallest things bring down the greatest powers. If this gave you a new perspective, hit like, share it, and subscribe.